right, so you all may notice my hair's a little different. I did not see the hairdresser. In fact, I did quite the opposite. When I don't do anything, this is what it looks like. The natural curl. Um, thank you, thank you. So I remember my religion professor once saying to me, "You have a real permanent because it's permanent because it's something that's there and that stays and unless you do something else with it, which I so often do. Aren't we silly human beings? If we have curly hair, we want it straight. If we have straight hair, we want it curly. You know, we're just kind of silly that way. And we're just learning to have joy in being who we are on a day-to-day basis.
That's the most important.
Yes, yes. And to love and appreciate ourselves along the way. Today is about that kind of joy that includes all that we go through as human beings. Today we're looking at the dance of Shiva, and it just has all of it in there. But before we get to that, we're going to use one of the Sanskrit words, which we are very familiar with. We use it to say, "I honor, the divine in you." Namaste is the word, and yes, it does. Nama meaning it means to bow to or to honor, and stay is referring to that divine within you. Another mantra from Hinduism is Om Namah Shivaya, which also says I bow to or I honor that divine within people, within everybody, within everything. And so these are very powerful, powerful mantras. Namaste is a very, very powerful mantra. We took a whole hymn in unity to capture the meaning of Namaste. The words are from Frank B. Whitney from long ago, and it's I behold the Christ in you. I behold the Christ in you. So today I started to do this in the class a little bit. So today we're going to learn this song a little bit. We're going to learn a couple of things today because that's all part of the dance that we're playing with. Christ Namaste chant. And here's the thing. I will sing a verse of the hymn, of the traditional hymn in a different melody than anything we may have heard before. And the chorus is the Namaste chant itself. So I'm going to let you catch on to what that is, because there's one word in that chant, and it's Namaste. But it's preceded by the verses. So let me share those verses with you, starting with this one. I behold the Christ in you. Here the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. And here we go. Namaste, 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 namaste. Namaste, namaste. And that's just a way of holding the divine in each other. So remember that chant, because we'll return to it. Okay. But what we're going to look at on the start today, how can I say this? I'm thinking of, because I had the great privilege and pleasure with Gloria this past week to see the Laurentian Mountains. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. I am so glad I got out a couple times in the past week to week and a half to see just how beautiful this area is. And Susan has showed me some of the town and was willing to show me more, but I ran out of time. Just have to come back and see some more. But we saw the Laurentian Mountain. Am I saying that right? Laurentian Mountains? Laurentian Mountains. And I read about them. Anything I see, when I'm out visiting or traveling, I like to read about. So I read about the Laurentian Mountains. I said, geological history of the Laurentian Mountains. Do you realize that that rock that you see, that granite that you see, those granite walls are almost as old as the earth? Almost. Just a few hundred, and by the way, Earth time, this isn't very much. Just a few 100 million years younger. Okay, so they are between 3 and 4 billion years old. They are some of the old. In fact, they are considered on the planet. So here you are, right here. The oldest part of the planet is coming up above the surface just for you. Now, what happens with the Laurentian Mountains is they once looked like the Himalayas and the Alps, but over time the rain and the forces of nature eroded them to what they are today. But this old crust that was uplifted when the continents came together, pushed up, is still exposed. And that is so rare. We have beautiful Appalachian Mountains. We have Blue Ridge, if you've ever seen them, and some of them expose their rock face. Yes, hello, John. So yes, we went out to the mountains too. So I love it. Some of them exposed their rock face, but none of them are quite as ancient or old as these Laurentians up here. I think that is so amazing. So amazing. And this is what the dance of life does for us. It brings up the old stuff, Sometimes it's really great. We have nice memories and things like that. And other times it's hard to climb or to pass through or to do anything with when the old stuff comes up. Start with recognizing who we are. And I'm going to put my PowerPoint back on for just a few slides so we can see what we're looking at today. All right, there we go. And we're going to start with this slide. There we go. All right. Oh, it still started with the other slide. Well, let's move forward here. There we go. All right. So this is our metaphysical trinity that Maya and I learned a long time ago, didn't we, Maya? Learned a long time ago in unity. It speaks to the Trinity of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, what we call the traditional Trinity of Christianity. And notice how I got gender inclusive on Father and Son there, with Father, Mother God, Son, Daughter, the Christ, because both male and female are expressions of the Christ, although the Son itself is the divine being within each of us. So you see, you have the Father, Mother God, the divine, the absolute, the supreme being, and in unity, the parallel, the metaphysical parallel is universal mind, divine intelligence, universal awareness, pure being. Metaphysicians use the language of mind. That was something that came into being back in the 19th century. This language, this metaphysical, mind-centered language. It wasn't about the intellect. It wasn't about the masculine side of things, because mind was a universal concept. It included masculine and feminine. It included thoughts and feelings. So any thought or feeling was like a movement in mind, in consciousness. So divine mind is basically saying all of it, everything. And there is an intelligence, a divine intelligence in everything, is also what that says by referring to it as mind. The Christ, the son, daughter, the Christ, the I am, divine identity. This is our part of that mind, and it's not, and it's more than part. It's all of it. I described to a couple of people over the past week the drop in the ocean. Drop in the ocean contains the whole ocean, because within its atomic makeup, it's all that the ocean is. It's all that the ocean is. And yet it's not the vast ocean that covers the whole planet. It's a drop. So we are that in the universe. We are the drop of the ocean. We have a connection when we immerse, especially through meditation and prayer. When we immerse in all of it, then we expand ourselves to all of it, just like the drop disappears and becomes the ocean. But we are the drop containing everything the ocean has within us. And that is what Unity calls the idea, the formation of the divine in consciousness. In us is the divine. And then the expression of it is the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, the manifestation tangible to the senses. So if I sound a little bit like the teacher today, it's because I don't have a follow-up class to this talk as I have all month long. So you're getting a little bit of both, the class and the talk. Okay. So let us look at another trinity, another couple of trinities from Hinduism. Because what happened long about 3000 BC, there was a people known as the noble people. They were called the Aryans. Aryans, some of you may have heard that term, been totally misused. The term's been totally misused by the wrong people, for not wrong people, by people for the wrong reasons. The Aryans moved from far east outward nomadically, and bringing the influence of their culture, which was a culture of patriarchal deities. Okay, not that there weren't goddesses too, but mostly the guys were in charge. And they moved into India. They influenced the indigenous religions of India. The indigenous religion of India centered around the Indus River, and it was Inducism, or what became known as Hinduism. And Hinduism evolved into a religion with particular masculine deities with a feminine side, with a feminine balance. For example, the deity of Shiva has the balancing feminine energy of Shakti. Okay. So Hinduism didn't leave out the feminine, and by the way, neither did Christianity. Anybody ever hear of Mary, Mother of God? You know, and Anna, we were talking about Anna. See, so the feminine energy gets in there somehow. But what you had was the main three gods, the three main gods in Hinduism. Because in Hinduism, you have one presence, one power, and you do. One presence, one power, expressing in many forms. And whether it's Hanuman, the monkey god, or Ganesh, the god with the head of an elephant, all of these gods and deities were all forms of the one presence. But there were three main expressions of that presence, and that became the Trinity of Hinduism. The expressions of God were Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. The three main expressions. Brahma, sound familiar? Absolute, supreme being. All of it. Just beingness. Shiva, the creator destroyer, Shiva was the forming part of the absolute supreme being. To bring things into form, you have to have, and get this, you have to have both creation and destruction, because destruction is a way to prepare the way for creation. An example are the fires of the redwoods out on the West Coast. The redwoods have these wonderful pine cones, but it takes fire to open them up. So you do actually have to have a forest fire to create new trees. So it takes this dance of moving from up, and Gloria and a couple of the others of you told me this too, that there are two seasons in Montreal. There's winter and there's construction. Okay, so when you see the orange cones or the orange signs and all the machinery and everything like that, and everything's torn up, well, that is part of what? Creating something new, isn't it? You have to tear it up and then bring in what is new. So this is the dance. This is the dance of the creator destroyer. We're not talking good and evil here. It has been called good and evil, but we're just talking a cycle of life. Now, here's the thing about this cycle. It'll come around again. We'll be at peace and everything will be going well. And then boom, something happens. It might be a diagnosis. It might be something happens to a friend or a loved one, or to our home or to our job. And it's all turned upside down again. Okay, so this is part of the dance. This is part of the dance. This is part of getting ready for the new creation, creator destroyer. And then Vishnu, the sustainer. Vishnu is the one who incarnated to remind us of who we are. If this was a Christian context, Jesus would be Vishnu in form. For Hinduism, it was Krishna and it was Rama. These were two forms of Vishnu. They were fully awakened, enlightened beings in the flesh. So reminding us of who we are. Okay. Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. The three gunas, which parallel to these, there's the sattvic guna, and guna is like a state of mind. Three gunas. Sattvic, immersed in the absolute. I think every one of us knows what that is, or you wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't be online with us. There's the rajasic, expanding consciousness, which goes with the creator destroyer, because when we circle around to the same patterns in life, if we are on the spiritual path, each time that circle gets higher and more expansive, and higher and more expansive, like a great spiral. We're really on the spiral of life, circling upward and getting more expansive with each cycle, with each year that goes by, with each group of seasons that we go through. All right. So that expanding consciousness is called rajasic. And tamasic is our worldly consciousness. When we're in sense consciousness, when we're stuck, what we have called in unity, the sense consciousness. Charles Fillmore called it race consciousness because it's limiting our thinking to human beings, the human race, to what's human in us alone. Nothing wrong with what's human in us. We can include that in the allness of who we are, but we don't limit ourselves to that. We don't limit ourselves to that. Okay. You ready? Shiva Nataraja, the dancing Shiva. He's dancing in that circle, that ever expanding spiral dance. And what we're going to do is look at who we can be through the symbols of this Shiva Nataraj, a very famous figure in Hinduism. Now, this stuff flying out from his head, well, it's like me. That's his hair. Okay. If I was spinning like that, my hair might fly out like that as well. Okay. So his hair is flying out to indicate he is in this spinning dance. Okay. We're going to look at his four hands and what they're telling us. Now I will describe it to you because some of them you can't see too well, but the upper right hand is holding it's to the right side at the end of the hair flying out there. It's holding a drum, a small drum. That drum is the initial vibration of the universe, represents the initial vibration of all of creation. A lot of people chant that initial vibration. What is the word? Yeah. But he's holding a drum, which shows that we need to be in touch with that rhythmically. You know, it's like a heartbeat. It actually also represents our heartbeat. It's that beat that keeps us in tune with life. And so what we're being told here is we are being called to immerse ourselves in that allness, that Om, that allness of consciousness, of awareness, rhythmically on a regular basis. If we get a rhythm going with it, like a dance, it is so much easier, isn't it? Have you ever developed a spiritual habit of doing things? And at first it's just like, gosh, do I have to get up earlier so I can meditate? And, you know, but after a while, you wake up and it's like you're called to that place and that time to do that. So we're being told, be in touch with the allness of it on a rhythmic basis. That left hand, that upper left hand, pointing toward the flames, the circle of fire. And by the way, that fire represents transformation, and that's what it takes to create the whole universe. The upper left hand is holding a flame. The flame, it's the flame of change. I mean, when fire gets hold of places, things change, don't they? Fire represents transformation and change. Fire doesn't, how can I say it? It doesn't dissolve what's there. People say it destroys. It only destroys what the form has been before. But it doesn't destroy the elements of the form. It changes them. So they go out into the universe, but they are still there. Nothing dissolves or goes away. It just changes form. And fire is one of the primary things that changes form. So fire represents change. And often when things change, especially when we aren't planning on it and we didn't want them to, what happens? We burn. We burn. With frustration or anger or emotion. Why is this happening? What is going on? We get this total thing going. Jesus said something about that in the 15th chapter of John. He said, I want to get his exact quote, so I wrote it down here. He said, I am the vine and my Father is the vine grower, the allness of God. He removes every branch in me that bears no fruit. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, removing what's not bearing fruit. You ever been pruned in life? I'm not talking about a long soak in the tub. Okay. Not that kind of pruning. But I'm talking about when you're going through a pruning in life, when something has been removed from your life. when something has frustrated you in a certain way, often what comes up, it's not the thing itself, but what comes up when that something is missing is the stuff that you are ready to let go. It's the stuff that you're ready to cast into the fire and burn. So it's okay to burn. It's okay. Just don't, like a dragon, spray your fire at anybody else. Just let it do its thing. Let it burn. Let the energy, burn and redirect. There's an affirmation I've taught people over the years for when that's happening. When you're feeling that sense of frustration, humiliation, whatever it is, if things aren't going as planned. Okay, you ready for this? Maybe you better write it down. It's complicated. Okay. Burn, baby, burn. Just because if you get that kind of presence to it, it no longer has power over you. If you lighten up on it, burn, baby, burn, then it no longer has a great hold on you. All right, so that's the fire of change. Now, the right front hand, you see him doing one of these, and you also see an eye in the hand. Okay. I spoke of this in one of the classes where this is a mudra. A mudra is a hand position. This is a mudra that is watchful and protective. Okay. So it is saying, I'm going to stop this from coming in and taking hold in my awareness or my consciousness. Thank you, but no, thank you. Okay. Thank you, but no, thank you. You can, who was it who said you can let the bird of unhappiness, fly and land on your head, but don't let it build a nest in your hair. Flick it away. Thank you, but no, thank you. A certain way of thinking. If you're thinking a certain way and you want to shift, burn, baby, burn. And then just thank you, but no thank you. Okay, so that's his hand, palm of protection. And the other hand, the left one, pointing down toward his foot, that's the one I think we can see most clearly. The left hand pointing down toward the foot is like, imagine if you were in need of some consolation or comfort, and someone came along and put their hand on your shoulder just to say, it's okay. That's the position of that hand. It is symbolizing refuge for the troubled soul. And these are symbolisms from Hinduism, not from my interpretation of them. This is symbolizing refuge for the troubled soul. You are well looked after. You are it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, friend. And it's pointing down toward the foot that is lifted and sweeping away everything that's in the way of your greater good in the dance.
I asked about the significance of who he's standing on.
That was my next thing. So the final thing is that left foot on, it looks like a child somehow, or it looks like a, anyway, sometimes it's called a demon, but what it really is, nothing personal, Maya, but it's called Maya in religion. This is not about Maya's name. Her name means something else entirely. It's called Maya because Maya is the illusion of life. It's the illusion and the delusion when we don't understand what's happening in life and we get wrapped up in that materialistic thinking because we're just caught up thinking this is where reality is instead of in here. It's what Buddha gave up under the Bodhi tree. He had a little talk with that form of Maya back and forth. This is what Shiva dances on. He's dancing on it to demonstrate it's always there. It's always there, okay? But we are more powerful, especially when we dance in life. When we dance in life. So we remember to, like a rhythm, like keep our regular appointments with God. When we're going through change that's difficult in us, burn, baby, burn. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Then thank you, but no thank you with the protection. And remember, we are always cared for. My great teacher, Ed Rabel, said, when you are on the spiritual path, you are under two laws, the law of protection and the law of grace. And both will always be present for you. Always be present. If you look for them, you will see them. Okay, so one more little look at the dance of Shiva. There's the dance of Shiva in nature, in our universe, in the atmosphere of the earth, and the spirals of the galaxy, and the formation of the conch shell called the nautilus, and the clash of atoms. What do they call those? Like CERN, the one in CERN, where they throw the atoms together. This is what they see. These are the patterns that they see. In the pine cone, there's the pine cone. And please don't ask me what that last one is, because I don't know. It's some kind of plant, that I know, but it's everywhere. The spiral, the dance of Shiva. You might go out and see some patterns of it today. If you look at a rose, you can see it. Okay. And where's my time here? Okay, we're good. We're doing well. So we are under the law of divine grace and divine protection. So what I'm going to do when we do our prayer for protection today, no, I'm going to teach it to us right now. Okay, and then we'll do our best when we get to the prayer for protection. There's a little dance that we taught our young people. It's mostly arm movement. And please don't do this if you don't feel comfortable doing it. That's just perfectly fine. But when you move to something, people tell me, Laura, when you talk, you're always moving. And I said, well, that's because you feel it. You embody it. You embrace it. So this is movement to the prayer for protection. I'm trying to sit back here a little bit so you can see my arms here. Okay. So if you don't know the prayer of protection, then just tune in and we'll learn it together. Okay. So the light of God surrounds me. Okay. The love of God enfolds us. Hug yourself. Give yourself a hug there. Yep. The power of God protects us. Okay. Yeah. The presence of God watches over us, and touch your third eye, which is also the way a lot of people look out on a sunny day. Yeah. Presence. Okay. What I leave off? The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. That's right. Wherever we are, and hands on the heart, God is. Okay, now this is what our kids in our youth department back when I was at the church in Chesapeake, Virginia. This is what they taught us. They said, Now, a line has been added, because that's all that Jim Freeman wrote. That's all that James Dillett Freeman wrote of the prayer of protection. But a line's been added, and all is well. That's just been added. It just naturally tacked on over the years. Well, all our kids in that school, in our Sunday school said, and all is swell. So we do, and all is swell. Okay, I like that. So let's do that again. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is swell. Okay, yay, give yourselves a hand. That was good. Ah, great. All right, so let's go into our, just a few moments of meditation. And as we do this, we will be coming out with some music like we did last week. You let the music bring you out at the end of the meditation. It's a specially selected piece for us. So take a deep breath and close your eye. And we have the dance of Shiva, the Lord of the dance. Jesus has been called the Lord of the dance. We have that active spirit in us right now, doing its perfect work in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, in our lives. Where there is time to just sit and take in the beauty around us and spend time in prayer. I'm in the presence of pure being, where we have time to do that. We rejoice in that. We rejoice in that. We beat the drum or ring the bell inside, just rejoicing in our time with the divine. Where there are changes that have frustrated or even angered us, we just say to those emotions, burn, baby, burn. Transform that energy. Let it be directed toward constructive activity. Knowing we are moving toward that greater and better outcome. Where things of the world try to disrupt or disturb us, we can hold up the palm of our protective hand filled with that energy of God. And we can say thank you, but no thank you. Whether it's a person, place, condition, whatever it may be, that is looking to throw us off, to make us forget who we are. Thank you, but no thank you. And then we can remind ourselves in all circumstances and conditions that God is there to comfort, to sustain, to bring peace. And that we are greater than any condition or circumstance. For Shiva, Christ is dancing inside. I behold the Christ in you. I can see this as you walk. I see this in all you do. I can see this as you talk. Namaste, 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 namaste. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See Christ in you hour by hour. Namaste, 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 namaste. Namaste, 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 namaste. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one, led by God in all you do. I can see God's work is done. Namaste, 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 namaste. So it is.